Remote Year Confessions, Month 7, Kyoto, Japan. So, my biggest appreciation for Japan was the orderliness, the cleanliness, and the kindness of the people. The Japanese culture is unbelievable in that sense. Not only is everything like super clean and orderly, but it's just a different vibe when everyone is also very intentional but focused from a business professional aspect. I think Asia as a whole has been fantastic, lovely. The Asian culture is very Buddhist driven or Shinto, so there's much more intentionality. There's much more kindness, forgiveness. It's a slower pace culture. But when you have everyone in suits around you or like dressed to the tens, it allows you to have a different sense of appreciation and respect for the culture as a whole. My biggest takeaway was that I missed winter. It was so refreshing to have to wear a stocking cap and a scarf and some gloves. Uh, it hadn't been since Santiago last July that I needed to wear that. So I've missed winter. I was a little sad that we didn't get snow, but hey, Kyoto was beautiful in its own sense. It's actually just walking there. You're so safe. Everything's so cute and quaint and like just so tiny that yes, it can be frustrating to find out where the heck something is, but it was also beautiful in the sense that you'd be walking and you'd find like a hidden gem that seats 6 people and have one of the most memorable nights of your life. So that was fun. The food, I was assuming that Japan was going to be a more sushi based space since it is surrounded by water. That's not the case though. Sushi is not a very common, popular Japanese dish. Ramen for sure is, which by the way, they're really like growing in that department of having vegan options, gluten free. I was able to find all sorts of ramens that were different. They didn't fill me as much, but the other alternative was like meats on a stick. Everything's like fried and on a stick form, which at the end of the day is ironic because you can't eat on the streets, right? There's like designated eating areas. If you buy something at a window, you need to go stand there, eat it, and then like go on with your day. Um, but yeah, just not very filling. Not a lot of vegetables to be found in the public places, and I think it's because when you cook at home, you don't want to like go out and get a similar dish that you'd cook at home. So they save like the fried stuff, the tempura, the ramen, the pizzas, the pastas, um, all those sorts of things for your restaurants versus making that stuff at home. And I think now going into that, it's because Japan is a very minimalist country. The living situations is it was the smallest place I had ever lived. We're talking smaller than a college dorm. My only complaint with living in a studio apartment or having like just one little area is having shelves. Like the bathroom was pretty much a wet room, which at the end of the day isn't bad. I managed, but you got to think the when you get a hot plate for your kitchen, you're limited with what you can make at home. But the cost of everything is very relative. I think the biggest misconception is like Japan is so expensive, but if you're coming from the states, it was very much in comparison to what this prices were in the suburbs of Chicago. So it's a culture shock based from coming from like Colombia, Mexico, Thailand, Vietnam. Um, but at the end of the day, it was reasonable to be being back in the States. Belief work changed. A lot's went down, as I've either stated here or I have for sure on Instagram or Facebook. It is my last month with Remote Year. Japan was. I'm in Malaysia right now for a couple weeks with the group on my own, traveling on my own. But um, I just have really gotten clear on being in a group dynamic as an introvert, like a very focused introvert, is not conducive for my lifestyle. Um, Remote Year, it has a lot scheduled into the days as well. So for a person who is used to working like 12 to 13 hours, um, then adding all this like stuff on to go experience a culture with, it gets to be a lot. There's been times where I've kind of really struggled with FOMO, the fear of missing out, because of like other members in my group's experience. And like being in compare and despair of like, well, because I'm not choosing to do that, what else do I need to do, this or that? And it's just not conducive. My business, my mental and emotional well being has been a challenge to keep in check. My business is struggling, my finances are tight. So it's time to kind of slow down, sit down for a minute. I love Asia. I want to stay here longer, anyways. So it just felt right with not transitioning to Europe right away with the group, as well as allowing myself some time to stay focused, create some content, and become more visible for the engineers and the, you know, male executives that I desire to be coaching. Um, Group dynamic shifts. 6 people left last country. So the group is getting smaller as time goes on. Some people are really struggling with it. I look at it as like, how blessed are they to like finally have a group of maybe 10 to 15 people that are truly committed to finishing out the year with them. Yeah, a lot of us good people are leaving, depending on who you are and who you vibe with. But at the end of the day, I think it's an important lesson for anyone in any situation. It's always easy to think from a space of loss or um, scarcity, and instead take a moment and flip it. Think of what the light in the situation is, what the perk is, what the special intimate commitment is. Um, my most special moments in Japan Team Lab up in Tokyo. Go. Uh, Osaka, went to a castle and just had a lovely day of eating my way through that city. Um, we did a hike and I got to see where Reiki originated from. I went to a local onsen with multiple types of baths, which was absolutely fantastic. And then, like I said, just the typical, the workspace, millennials, beautiful space. But then, just being able to walk at night. Japan is so safe in general, and so just being able to walk at night and see the lanterns and like watch people and just kind of feel the vibe of the nightlife was really, really memorable. So what I'd like to focus on, I'm going to focus on really taking care of myself, staying focused, and like I said earlier, creating content to be more visible. My biggest thing that I want to do is create residual income. And so that's creating content. I have 8 years in corporate fitness and wellness. And I've learned so much in the last 4 years of coaching with emotional intelligence, belief work, mindset, goal setting, work-life balance, all of that. And I just feel like creating some content to have just as residual income would be wise for me. And then just still making connections to help people be able to create deeper connection and learn how to love themselves and allow others to love them in the process of discovering themselves and loving themselves. That ultimately is what I'm here to do, is to help you wake up and understand that where you are versus where you want to be likely has a disconnect, or where you can be. But there's a lot of BS that goes on in the mind that prevents. So for me myself, even just focusing on being a guru of my mindset, understanding what I am thinking, and taking full ownership in the emotions it's going to create, and then mastering my emotions, making sure that I'm clear that they are in fact real, or that the reality I'm creating is based off of something that's true versus not true, and checking in with why I'm choosing to think about that, why I'm allowing something to occur, because I can sometimes be pretty self-destructive and mean to myself. So Japan as a whole is beautiful. I did not have enough time there. It's another reason why I've decided to leave the program. 4 weeks somewhere is just not enough time for me to really embody and embrace the culture. So go to Japan. The people are lovely. The food is okay. Shit ton of shrines and temples to see. I don't think you'll ever be able to like have too much if you really are into becoming educated and learning. Each one is different, which is beautiful. But Japan is definitely special. I plan to go back. I'd love to do the north side, but if you do go, my advice is go to Osaka, stay in Osaka, and then do the Japan railway pass to Hiroshima, Kyoto, Mount Fuji, Tokyo. Use that to go everywhere. It's a lot easier. So, all in all, thank you for watching. Thanks for experiencing this journey with me. I plan to be on here once a week, just creating more videos around my coaching practice. And then if you want photos or insights of what I'm doing on a more live basis, follow me on Instagram or Facebook, Alyssa Pajoli. And that's a way that you can kind of keep up with the travel location. So, see you next week.